and gentlemen, start your motors. Mazda is finally plugging into the electric vehicle segment with the MX-30. That's it, it's tiny. This is Mazda's first foray into the EV space, so let's take a deep dive, shall we? First, let's start on the outside and go in. Personally, I really like how the MX-30 looks. It takes a lot of cues from the CX-30, just sort of takes it to the next level. A little more bulbous. You can see there's more of a dramatic sloped roofline, which I really like. It could cramp a little bit in the second row. Could also hinder visibility along with this lovely thick C-pillar, which Mazda seems famous for. But I like the badging here. This is great. This, however, is a sticker. If you're gonna commit, guys, come on, put a badge on it. Yes, appeal is always subjective, but you know, I wouldn't be embarrassed driving this thing around. I do want to point out that it comes with a clamshell door. Now this is here because it's supposed to make it easier to get into the back. And it does, unless you're parked very close to another car in a parking lot, then good luck. But it is a very small car, so I understand why this was the option, which leads us to the second row, which is also very small. Now, this is my ideal seating position, and I can get in here fine. I have enough room. But I will say, like the Toyota CHR, once you're in here, you do feel a little bit sort of shrouded, and it's a little claustrophobic. Again, thanks to this thick, I guess this isn't a C-pillar. This is the B-pillar. So Mike Danger is big time now and he hosts his own videos. However, I am super curious to see whether he or somebody even close to his size would fit back here. What's it like for a larger person, Danger?
Yeah, no.
In spite of its diminutive size, you actually get a surprising amount of cargo space back here. However, there's no frunk. I mean, there's kind of room in there though. Time to get inside. The cabin looks absolutely stellar, with Mazda punching way above its weight class like they normally do. The MX-30 gets a two-toned interior made from sustainable fabrics and materials like cork. For those who don't know, in the 1920s, Mazda was originally a cork manufacturer, so this is a really nice nod to that heritage, aside from the fact that it just looks really cool. And there are really cool features like a cool ledge for your phone, larger cubby for bigger items. I think they really have clever ways of using limited space. The MX-30 comes standard with an 8.8-inch center display, which is still not a touchscreen, but operated by a rotary control. More rotary news in a minute. The thing that I like about Mazda's interface is how customizable it is. I mean, I can even decide if I want the 3-flash turn signal on or off. Yes, it does have quite a few layers, but they're labeled in such a way that they make sense, so it's fairly intuitive to navigate. The lower screen does have touch capability as well as buttons, and you'll use it for HVAC functions. And there is a volume knob, so that's a plus. The MX-30 additionally offers up Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as heated front seats, a leather-wrapped steering wheel and shift knob, a 7-inch digital gauge cluster, I'm so glad these things have become a thing, and 18-inch wheels. And my favorite feature? Rain-sensing wipers. Extra goodies on the Premium Plus package include blind spot monitoring and a lane keeping assist, which will somewhat inelegantly coax the MX-30 back into its lane should you wander. It also gets an advanced audio system and heated steering wheel. But to me, you're fine without this package. You get plenty on the base model. And that's a good thing because base price on this starts at $33,500. If you get the Premium Plus package, that will set you back $36,500. And here's the kicker. This only comes with a 35.5 kilowatt lithium-ion battery, which is only good for about 100 miles of range. This day and age, that is not much. Competitors who offer almost twice that for less money include the Hyundai Kona EV, the Chevy Bolt, and the VW ID.4. The MX-30 can use both level 2 and 3 chargers, with the level 3 getting the crossover up to 80% charge in 36 minutes, which also, honestly, in the days of 20-minute 80% charges, also sounds a bit lagging when you're only talking about 100 miles. So get ready to plug in early and often. There have been studies done that show that most Americans don't drive more than 30 miles a day. So if that's the case, great. And if this is your second EV and you know that you're not going to require that much range, all the better. But for somebody like me, my home is 60 miles away from my office. So I wouldn't be able to go to work and then go home again without charging in between. To not be competitive in that way in a fast-growing segment that's already offering more than what you're bringing to the table feels very un-Mazda-like to me. Normally, Mazda is ahead of the curve. Yes, Mazda could put in a bigger battery so that it gets more range, but then you're adding more weight, and so then they have to put in a bigger motor, and you're playing the back and forth weight gain, because this motor only puts out 143 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque. That's not a lot. When you get behind the wheel, that torque number actually feels quite decent, but you know what? It diminishes quickly, and that smaller power number starts to feel woefully inadequate. Now, it seems to me that if you are going to give a vehicle that MX designation, which is the same as the sprightly and fun MX-5 Miata, then you really should be giving your vehicle those same kinds of characteristics. The MX-30 just doesn't translate. Certainly you'll get up to speed on the highway, but it feels like it takes longer than it should to get there. As far as the ride quality, the MX-30 feels comfortable. I have no problems here. There's nothing glaring that stands out as offensive or intrusive to the driving experience. The steering on the MX-30 is interesting to me, so no, there's nothing natural feeling about it. However, it doesn't feel overly electronically assisted and sort of light and easy. Like, it has a heavy weight to it, which is actually something that I really like. Ultimately, if you're pointing it in one direction, the car is going to go where you want it to go, which is what you want 100% of the time. The MX-30's brakes straddle the line between natural feeling and obtrusive regen. They've actually got a pretty firm grab when you first depress them and feel really substantial. You can use the paddles to adjust regen braking, but even at its most aggressive setting, it's not enough to go full one pedal. So, was I right about the Mazda C-pillars in here? Yeah. The handling on the MX-30 is decidedly Mazda-esque. This is a front-wheel drive car, but thanks to its 40-60 weight distribution, it's weighted like a mid-engine car. So those two factors make for interesting challenges. But when it comes to the driving dynamics, Mazda really does show off their pedigree here. The MX-30 feels stable. Mazda has tweaked the torque vectoring software to accommodate this car perfectly, and it feels stable. It turns quite effortlessly without a whole lot of commotion. One note, when you're coming out of a turn, if you're accelerating a little too fast, it could get away from you, but I'm gonna blame the tires more than anything else on that. For the time being, there is no all-wheel drive available, but Mazda claims a PHEV is coming, and with, like I mentioned before, a rotary-powered engine. Very interested in that. We haven't seen that in the US for a while. Also interesting and a bit enviable, Mazda sells the same car in Japan with a 2-liter mild hybrid engine. Why can't we have that one? Honestly, I'm wondering why they didn't roll out with the aforementioned plug-in option first. My best guess is this is going to be primarily a European market car. There are only 560 units that are being sold in the United States in this first go around, and most of those initially are being sold in California. Now, there is one more thing that I'm going to caveat here, and that is that this car is not part of the sort of new mega merger between Toyota and Mazda when it comes to EV tech and research. I am betting that the next time we see an EV or PHEV from Mazda, thanks to Toyota's massive investment in the direction of alternative powertrains, it's going to be more of what we expect from Mazda. There are some great things about the Mazda MX-30, but this is a little bit of a tale of two cars because it does have challenges that might be difficult for some buyers to get over. Mazda does a great job when it comes to driving dynamics and styling, as always. However, they could squeeze a little bit more juice out of this thing when it comes to range and power.